to another edition of Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. And here's your host, Russ McClellan.
Thanks for tuning in one more time to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. Today I actually have a friend. Her name is Lynn. Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Russ.
You know, I do my best work under pressure. You know, pressure, no diamonds, right? That's a bold rule. And I love people that are spontaneous like me. I gave you lots of notice, like an hour maybe, and you had you have the tendency to be aggressive, and I love that. And you said, "Sure, I'll come in and do this crazy radio show with you." Well, I want to tell you why I want Lynn Zielasko to talk today. On this radio show, we often talk about life. We talk about strategies. We talk about tactics. We talk a lot about mindset. Talk about real estate every once in a while on this real estate show. Well, Lynn's been a Keller Williams broker for 17 years, right?
That is correct.
Yeah. Were you always at Keller Williams?
Since day one.
Since day one. Now, so for people who don't know, you've moved to this side of the mountains. You're still licensed at Keller Williams on the west side.
Yes. Yes, I am.
But you live over here.
I do.
And I have Kennedy. Hi, Kennedy. She's 5. She's listening to a headset. Can't see her because this is a radio. Luckily, because I have a face for radio. So it's good. Hi, Kennedy. She's looking at me like, what are you talking about, old man? Anyway, Lynn, what I wanted to talk about today, what I thought would be fun is, first of all, introduce yourself, and then tell me what you think is happening, like in your 17-year career. Take that knowledge and what I try to do is help people understand what's going on in real estate, or help them with mindset, or help them with adversity, and also inspire them and maybe entertain them half the time because I say weird stuff. So, like, how'd you get into real estate?
I got into real estate. I was 27. I had purchased my very first house I bought with my first husband. I was 18 years old.
Oh, wow.
I have been a homeowner basically my entire adult life. Bought that house, sold it, bought another house, sold it. The last 2 houses we bought and sold for sale by owner. So I kind of got a little bit of a taste of real estate. You know, and I like driving around. Now I drive across the state weekly.
Yeah, you're selling houses all over the place. You're like not afraid to get. There's somebody wants to list in Ellensburg, I list in Ellensburg. Somebody wants to list in Bellingham, I'm listing in Bellingham, right? Like that's your, and that goes to your work ethic, right? I mean, you're one of those people I've known you since I got into Keller Williams about 4 years, I think 3 or 4 years now, and you advanced from being a real estate broker into leadership. In the office over on the west side, right?
I have held most of the hats in my 17 years. I have gone from I was on 2 teams. When I very first started out, I was on a team. Then I thought I knew everything, went off on my own. And then the market crashed. And very quickly, I realized I didn't know anything. Including having just purchased my very first rental house, which I no longer own because the bank decided that they wanted it back.
I know that feeling.
Many people who have gone down that road.
I had like 12 of them, I think. Not to outdo you. But yeah, I hit the brick wall at 800 miles an hour too. So
I started doing, so I was a single mom. I had 3 kids. They were, Hunter was 5. No, probably 4 and 6. 5 and 7 and 13, doing it by myself. And I was trying, but I mean, the prices were nothing. And I didn't have great work ethic. I didn't have good habits. I had good work ethic. I didn't have good habits. And in real estate, you have to have good habits because your phone doesn't just ring magically. After 17 years, I can say my phone magically rings, but not after the first couple of years. So I started doing BPOs, which are broker price opinions, also known as mini appraisals. Started doing that because they paid, $30 to $70 a piece. Most of them on average were $45. That's what put the food on the table
Right.
when the market was horrible. I went through that. I also got my bus driver license in the midst of that to just continue on. Also was doing hair because I have my cosmetology license. Anything and everything to keep my house and to keep food on the table and the lights on. I was a homeowner. I've been through 2 loan modifications.
we have a laptop moving. What are we watching over here, Kennedy? What is that?
Kennedy's watching Minecraft.
Minecraft.
I don't quite understand what that. You have to push it all the way in, sister. Here,
This is what moms do. If you want to be in real estate and your friend says, want to be on a radio show? You go, yeah, I got Kennedy. She's 5. I go, bring her. Future real estate broker by the end of the day.
She probably will be with the spunk and attitude that she has, and her outgoing personality might be a little bit like her mom. A little bit.
Well, that's helpful because when you try to be a secret agent, it's harder. So you went through all these things. That, you faced adversity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have this belief that everybody does. They just don't want to admit it. They might do it internally. They might do it mentally. They might do it outwardly and openly. Or secretly, but life has a way of hitting you, and life has a way of humbling you.
Oh boy. I know you can't see me, but I have 2 arms full of tattoos, and I have "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger" written on my arm so that I can look at that every single day.
And you have a shirt that says, I am the boss.
Yes, I am the boss,
I
just in case you were wondering.
I needed that when I had kids that were that age. They didn't think I was the boss. I should have had that shirt. They still don't think I'm the boss, but they still call me all the time, and they're 30 and 26. So I was on the phone this morning. You'll appreciate this. My grandson's 4, and my daughter's a doctor of audiology. She was a pretty good athlete, and say the least, she's kind of a intense perfectionist, planner. Not like me. She's the opposite in that respect, but we're a lot alike. So we had some good battles growing up, right? Because her mom said we were just too much alike. That was the problem, right? She's just. Well, my grandson has his first soccer game today. And my grandson, he started practicing when he was 3, almost 3.5, not even 4 yet. And I'm like, okay, half his life has been in lockdown. So they let him out in a field with a bunch of little 3 or 4-year-olds in there. And he's the kid. She goes, Dad, I don't know if he's got athletic ability. I don't know if he's going to be the MVP. I said, he's 3.5, 4. Well, he's the kid, Dad. There's cones. You kick the ball in, and that's the idea of soccer. Well, he's the kid that grabs the cone, puts it on his head, and then jumps on everybody else's back with a cone on his head instead of playing like soccer. I said, well, he's a boy, and he's 4, and half his life's been in COVID. So I wouldn't worry too much. I think everything's going to be okay, but it's funny to, I don't remember having that pressure at 4. And I don't know if it's not my daughter giving it. It's just
You shouldn't have that pressure at 4.
No, I don't think I just think it's the expectations, right? Sometimes are different, and generationally they're different. And I wanted to get into that and kind of lead us to your real estate background. And what differences do you see in realtors or in people from not that long ago to fast forward to today in a shift?
Well, I went through one shift, the up, and then it went down drastically, and then it's just been creeping back up. And everybody says every 7 years there's a shift, and we're way past 7 years, and we are finally shifting. In 2018, I became the team leader of our office. That was an interesting position, and also going through the world's worst divorce at the same time. So, adversity.
Mm-hmm. You're a fighter, man. That's it.
Do something really hard and have your life go through absolute craziness. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger is where that tattoo came from in that time frame. Then after I got out of the team leader position, went back to just being a mega agent. And then I decided that they coaxed me. I feel like I'm being coaxed sometimes recently, but being a mentor, which turned into the productivity coach, So I was working with a lot of new agents, and everybody thinks real estate's fun. It's fun. It's fun to go look at houses. It's fun to see people's decorations. It's fun, seeing all of these new houses and ideas and land and this and that and the other. Well, it's also a lot of work. And there's a lot that goes into it, and your phone just doesn't ring. Just because you go out and you get your real estate license does not mean that your phone instantly starts ringing with people wanting to buy and sell. Especially with a new agent, there's so many things that you have to learn. And I often used it when I was the team leader, is that in hair, you're not going to give the best haircut right out the gate when you graduate beauty school. And you're not going to give the best customer service right out the gate when you get your real estate license. And that is there's a lot of learning and a lot of experiences and a lot that goes into being the best and surrounding yourself with the best and getting great mentors.
Yeah, well, it's uncomfortable failing.
Well,
and
nobody wants to fail.
Nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to be the guy that's crappy at anything, But the first speech you give and, public speech you give is not going to be as good as your 100th. But that vulnerability, I want to talk more about vulnerability and authenticity. When we come back in just a few minutes with Lynn Zielasko, we're having a good time, and Kennedy, our youngest guest ever.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Home sweet home, home sweet home.
Hey, this is Russ McClellan with Keller Williams. I want to talk to you about something. Do you feel stuck? Do you feel the financial pressures of the COVID virus? That was fun, wasn't it? I'll tell you what, real estate can be a game changer for you, and I'm here to help you. If you want to give me a call at 509-888-0038, I want to talk about your life and getting unstuck. We are growing rapidly. We're the fastest growing real estate company in all of North Central Washington. Give us a call. I want to help you. 509-888-0038.
With the new Keller Williams School of Real Estate, you can now get your license for free. Access tools, tips, and personalized coaching with Keller Williams' award-winning training programs, and start off your career in real estate the right way. K-Score is 100% online and entirely free to students, with pre-licensing curriculum geared toward placing aspiring agents on a direct path to licensure and profitability. With K-Score, we're not just unlocking the door, we're opening every door to anyone that's ever dreamed of starting their career in real estate. We're making a difference for you so that you can make a difference for others. Now available for all individuals in Washington. Your future awaits. Enroll today.
We're excited. We got a lot of people signing up, so give us a call, 509-888-0038, or simply email us at joinus@kwncw.com. Let's go from being stuck to unstuck.
You're tuned to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. Now back to Russ.
Hey, welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Lynn Zielasko, a real estate veteran of 17 years. You've been through some stuff. Single mom. We have Kennedy here as well. This is what moms do in real estate. They just bring their kids. I like it. That's how it works.
I don't have a choice.
Yeah, you can't strap them to the hood of the car.
Yeah.
You can't lock them in a closet. Can't do any of that stuff. And why would you? Because they're half the time they're smarter than us realtors anyway. Mm-hmm. So, Lynn, when we were talking about, like you were saying, when people get into the business, there's a saying that we hear a lot in real estate if you've been around a while, that it's a simple business, it's just not an easy business. And sometimes I disagree with the simple part, but I do get the concept, right? We're not quantum physicists. We don't need to know anatomy or biology. We don't need to know astrophysics. We don't need to know anything like don't need to memorize all the laws in the world and be a lawyer or go to school for 8 years. It's 90 hours. We got a free school called K-Score, and you get a license to make money. But do you know much? Not really. Not really. In fact, I'd like to say that being learning-based is probably one of the quintessential components to success or at least longevity in the business, because if you stop learning, how many people have you known that were flashes in the beginning and they got their mindset around being all that in a bag of chips, and then they realized that life humbled them, and now they're not in the business.
Tons,
Right?
so many.
So you have to learn. I know this. I got a license in 1989 when I was 19 years old, and I know that every day I learn from someone, and I fail forward a lot. A lot. I was talking in our last show. I recently put a Facebook post of my dad on top of a sign in downtown Chelan on a restaurant that we built, me and a couple other guys, and it was fun. It was a hell of a party, and one of my friends commented that it was like a big clubhouse, not a restaurant. And he was right, because I have like 350,000 reasons why I wouldn't do it again. And yet my dad enjoyed it. And another friend of mine, I said in the last show, he said, well, I go, what does that look like to you? And he goes, that looks like an OSHA training, because he's got cowboy boots on top of a sign. The guy's holding a little ladder. And I said, no, that's cowboy training. We need more of that in life. And to some degree, I say that tongue in cheek, but I believe it. Like my dad's died a couple years ago at 86. Well, his compadres, that work ethic, drafted to Korea, got out of Korea, was a miner for 10 years in Boron, California. He said he had a Firebird and $35, and when he ran out of gas, he had to get a job. And he had an 8-month-old when he got out of Korea. So then he worked as a miner, came back, was an apple farmer his whole life. Raised 3 kids on 10 acres of apples back in the day. But that means he worked literally for someone else most of those years during the day, and he farmed his apple orchard at night with a flashlight and did all the work himself as much as he could. Well, go to my grandson, 4 years old. What's the work ethic going to be like there? Now, there's outliers, of course, but we have almost 90 real estate brokers, and there's like 400 real estate brokers in this area. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, I see it, and I want to know what your opinion is. I see 2 things. I see one, that people only know what they know, right? We know what we know what we don't know, and then we don't know what we don't know, right? And they've only known 3% interest rates. They've only known, like in Wenatchee, kind of hard to believe now, because the average price is about $475 now, I think, and the rate's about 5.5%. Well, you go back 2.5 years ago, the average home price was $300, and the average rate was under 3%. So every single person that you knew that made $20 an hour could buy a house. So, hey, that's a recipe for some pretty good deals. Like, everybody looks good at 2.8% on a $300,000 average, because all your friends can buy houses. See, that is money falling from the sky. Mm-hmm. But fast forward and make it $475,000 and 5.5%, 6% and climbing, and nobody at $20 an hour by themselves qualifies.
Right.
So all of a sudden, my lead generation concept of I'm all that in a bag of chips realtor turns into this business sucks. Mm-hmm. These leads suck. Your brokerage sucks. Your leadership sucks. My car sucks. My clothes suck. The sun sucks. Everything. Like, wait a minute. Whoa. Maybe look in the mirror, and that's your competition.
Your mindset sucks.
Yeah. I say mindset eats tactics and strategies for breakfast, because, again, like, how many people have you also met, conversely, that are kind of awkward? They don't have the gift of gab, but they have great work ethic. I think some of those people that don't have the gift of gab, that aren't flashy, that drive bad cars, or, because that's what they have, and they don't let it get to them. They have the mental discipline and the mindset that I'm going to overcome these obstacles, and then someday I'll have a nicer car. But for now, look at Diana Kokoska and the story about her when she started, who was one of the founders of the program we use called Bold. But she pulled her kids in a little red wagon, door to door to door to door. Knock, knock, knock. Hi, I'm Diana Kokoska. You know anybody who wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? These are my 3 kids. They're hungry. That's probably what she said, because authenticity and vulnerability have always been, I think, sexy qualities in humans. But why do you think it is that we're entering this look? Like, if is it social media? What's your take on the look game and this pretentious behavior and some of this unwillingness to be honest with yourself?
I think people want to, especially on social media, everybody wants to look amazing, and they're the best thing, since sliced bread, and they drive a this, and they do that, and they're going here and they're going there, and their marriage is amazing. And in reality, no marriage is amazing. I don't care who you are. Ask me. I've got 3 of them under my belt. I'm 0 for 3. In 2008, I watched my car get repossessed out of my driveway. My dad bought me a 1996 Volvo box. I don't even know what kind it was, but it was a horrible looking vehicle. And I'll tell you what, I did BPO after BPO after BPO in that ugly maroon Volvo. Now, I drive a Tesla.
Yeah.
Because I can.
Well, you had to grind, though.
I
right?
had to grind. It just didn't come for free.
I should say have to grind because you can't stop grinding.
No, you have to. I mean, that's just the a lot of people think, oh, well, I'm going to leave my 9-to-5 job and I'm going to get my real estate license and I'm still going to work 40 hours a week. But then all of a sudden they don't have a boss. They don't have any accountability. They don't have anyone saying you were late to work. You left early. You spend an hour and a half on your lunch break when you're only supposed to spend 30 minutes. Nobody's doing that. And so then you are your boss. Well, when you are your own boss, you end up sleeping in. You end up going grocery shopping at 10 o'clock in the morning. You end up getting your nails done or whatever. You don't treat it. Most people don't treat it as their job, business, career. And that's exactly what it is. And if you don't go out and sell houses with buyers or sellers, you're not getting a paycheck, period.
Yeah, I call it the James Dean approach to real estate. And the other day I had been saying that for a while. And you remember James Dean, right? He was the cool guy in the leather jacket leaning up against an old car with the cigarettes rolled up in his shirt and a Marlboro in his mouth. And he's like, "What's up? I'm a real estate broker. Work with me."
Yeah.
I don't even have to say anything. I'm so cool. And I'm like, and then I was laughing at myself because I'm like, there's like 7 generations of people in real estate, right? And I asked the people that were in the class when I said that, and I kind of saw these stares like, what's this old guy talking about? And I go, do you guys know who James Dean is? No. I go, oh, yeah, some of my references don't work because they're like, that's like 1930. Like, what? What is? I don't even know who you're.
You just aged yourself.
Yeah, I just aged myself completely. Like I got to start getting with more, more fluent or current analogies to prove the point. And what I find intriguing is also in this time of a shift, you're seeing a separation in people. I am seeing some incredible people dig deep and go, you know what, and be vulnerable. I've had them on my show and say, you know what, I took 2 months off early this summer, and I shouldn't have. And I'm paying the price, and I got to dig deep now, and I got to work extra hard and do those 12, 15-hour days because I took week after week after week, and I went to the beach, and I did this, and I did that, and I had a couple good closings, and, that whole thing where you invest on the low, live on the low, invest on the high, because we don't know what's happening next. And I've been through it too, man. I had a car repossessed with my kids that took it to the park. That was fun. Jeez. That's embarrassing. But I just owned it, and I believe that you just own it. And I believe that you should wake up hungry and scared a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I say, the difference between stress and anxiety. Stress is iron sharpens iron and gets us out of bed and keeps us moving and grinding and helping. And that's the other thing. If you look at your big why in this business, I think that's a huge one where people are looking at money. And I've talked about the mistake of understanding that success and money were related. And or happiness and success were related, meaning if I had money, I was happy. And I've proved that to myself that wasn't the case. And I'm much happier helping people than I am making money. It just so happens, though, that with an abundant mindset, as you know, you help people in this business, you get paid.
Yeah.
But to me, like the big why, have you ever, when you were teaching and coaching as a team leader, did you ever have success talking to people that said, hey, help 2 families a month and you'll make $80,000 a year?
Yeah.
Versus, I want to make $80,000 a year.
Yep.
That's more inspirational, right?
Well, it's more inspirational, and breaking down those numbers for some people who don't have an entrepreneurial mind and aren't necessarily learning based. You got to break down those numbers and so that it makes sense to them. Because oh sure, I want to make $80,000. Well, I want to make $80,000 a month. Do you know that you could actually do that in real estate?
And you can be an awkward person that doesn't have the gift of gab. I.e. some of the people that are the most successful because they have systems. And when I get back, I want to talk about those things: 80-20, E to P, systems and leverage, ceiling of achievement, all those things. Thanks for tuning in today.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Oh, sweet home.
Hey, this is Russ McClellan with Keller Williams. Thanks for tuning in to our radio show. I want everybody to know something. We offer a free real estate school, K-Score. We have a brand new team leader in Lauren Malloy. If you're interested in changing your life, if you don't have enough money, if you need extra money for those AU basketball shoes, if you want a career that actually gives you your time back, believe it or not, not everybody works 100 hours a week in real estate, trust me. At the end of the day, Keller Williams provides the systems, tools, training, and technology you need to flourish. Give us a call at 509-888-0038. You can call me personally at 509-470-2416 or email our staff and Kelly Hain, my sister and our Market Center Administrator, at joinus@kw.com for more information on our free real estate school. Make it a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, this is Russ McClellan. We started our real estate company, Keller Williams Realty, North Central Washington, in the spring of 2018. We've grown to be the largest real estate company in North Central Washington, and there's a reason for that. We attract people that want to keep the vast majority of the money they earn because they deserve it. We attract people that know that Keller Williams is the most advanced education and training real estate company and the largest real estate franchise system on the planet. We're in approximately 55 countries with approximately 170,000 agents with the most advanced technology in a world that is driven by the digital age that there is in real estate. We also, if that's not enough, profit share at 49% above a predictable expense line monthly. If you're interested in learning more about Keller Williams Realty NCW, give us a call today at 509-888-0038 and let's talk real estate. Have a great day.
You're listening to Keller Williams Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Lynn Zielasko. I appreciate you guys tuning in. It's an interesting time in real estate and society. Lynn, I love the polarization in the world. It makes for an intriguing place where everybody's a critic. Everybody's, like you said earlier, perfect. They got the perfect hair, which really is intimidating to me since I have none. I think it's the, for the first 3-4 years, I drove a $4,000 Matrix to this office from Chelan. I bought it at auction. And I drove that, and I typically I actually have a polo on today because I have a luncheon. But I don't really wear a t-shirt and jeans and old boots. And there's a couple of reasons. A, I'm kind of a country guy. At least I stopped chewing tobacco on my desk. That's a win. Stopped that like 10 years ago. I was a rodeo kid, so grew up in a small town. But my point to most people as we grew from, I've typically had a 10-person office or so in Chelan for my career, special forces unit mentality. And now we're, training and teaching much more, a lot more people for our area of the world. In Keller Williams, we're still small, but 90 is different than 10. And I wanted to teach people that their limiting beliefs is really all that is stopping them in real estate, because it is not something that you have to have a 150 IQ. You just have to be a good person, right? And I said, I got to thinking, what are the 2 limiting beliefs that I hear most often? And for me, and maybe it's different for you, but I heard I don't have the right car to sell real estate, and I don't have the right wardrobe. And those 2 things were intimidating enough that fear around that they conjured up in their head stopped them from trying. So I said, well, let me drive a $4,000 Matrix, and if I can sell real estate in a tiny little box car, and I can wear jeans and a t-shirt, and I have a great haircut, I can do it, you can do it. Because I really believe that. I really believe that if you come with work ethic, good things can happen. So do you think, I see that there's a work ethic problem. But often that's not related to the individual. It's related to their mentor or their coach or their training, because they just say, there's your desk, there's your phone, call your friends and family. I'll be in Mexico. Send me the check. Well, that works in a great market. In a great market, camouflage is a bad business. And you get away with it, and you start believing that you're all that. Instead of saying, I'm hungry, and I got to work harder now because the rates are doubled. So what do you suggest for people that are in real estate right now that are not achieving, don't have goals or not achieving their goals? What would be the number one thing because you've survived the shift, you get it.
I've survived it all. It's interesting. Last year, right about this time, a friend of mine who he's only been in real estate a couple of years, but he had good work ethic. He had a diabetic. Oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, he was in the hospital for in a coma for 6 weeks. Young, he's only about 30, and he was doing great. And then all of a sudden, this health thing happened, and then he got out of the hospital. And you know, when you're in real estate, you're self-employed. You don't have health insurance. None of those perks come with being self-employed. You have to go out and seek those yourself. And he said, will you coach me? Will you talk to me? Will you help me get out of this funk? And I said, my number one thing to tell you is that you have to go back to basics. You have to go back to cold calling and, looking up expireds. You have to put forth the effort. Go door knocking, social media. A lot of agents, one of the things that I said when I was productivity coach is these brand new agents, and they were so concerned about getting their headshot so that they could have the perfect business card. Well, the only thing you're doing is you're getting ready to get ready. That's not going to sell you. Your business card is not going to be the do all end all of, oh my God, right? So you screw around for 6 weeks trying to create the perfect business card. And then you get that perfect business card, and then all of a sudden you think, okay, why is my phone not ringing? Well, because it doesn't ring if you don't do the work to get it to ring, And I mean, that's the thing is we're going to have to go back to door knocking, cold calling our referrals, calling our friends and family, calling our database, going to businesses that you've worked with, handyman services, inspectors, whatnot, and creating those relationships and networking. And know what you're doing and want to be authentic and genuine and don't put on a show.
Yeah, be yourself. Be you times 2, right? I mean, that's so important. When you say back to the basics, another way to look at that is we just call it lead generating, right? And the game plan it's really this simple. And I believe this. I want to know if you believe this. And tell me if you don't. If someone, I could take anyone, and if I said, show up and do what I tell you for 3 hours every morning, 5 days a week, and what we're going to do there is we're going to pick some things of those that you've outlined as lead generation tools, and I'll help you outline those. And if you do that 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and then we do 2 hours of appointments in the afternoon. So our goal is to set appointments. We're not going to get them every day, but in the beginning, but over time, we're going to create some momentum. And, all of a sudden you get referrals over time, like you said, it's a little easier 17 years later than it was year one. And that has to do with expectations, right? I mean, so often we want to be a millionaire in the third day of work and own the company, right? That's normal too now. It doesn't happen, but there's an entitlement that I think exists for whatever reason. But do you believe, I believe if somebody did that, they came to work and were consistent about something for 3 hours a day with intensity and authenticity and genuine, caring about people, wanting to help people, and were open to being learning-based and coached, then they did 2 hours of those appointments, and they learned how to do a listing presentation, and they learned how to look up what's for sale. I joked around and say there's 4 things that you have to do to sell real estate, and I've been saying this since the late 80s. Know your product, be yourself, do it today, not tomorrow, and be honest. If you do those 4 things every day, you'll be great.
Absolutely.
But how many people lead generate 3 hours a day and have 2 hours? That's 5 hours. Just put it in perspective. That's 25 hours a week. I think you make $75,000 a year in this town, 5 hours a day.
I think you would make more than that.
More than that, yeah. Yeah, it sounds so weird because 1% of the people do it. It seems like that. Or 20%, the Pareto principle, 20% of the people are doing 80% of the work. In a shift, it's more like 95% of the work is done by 5% of the people because there's this resignation that the market's too difficult or that, 6% interest. Oh, my God. I remember when I went from 10 to 7 in my career, and I was like, holy crap. It was amazing.
The thing that people don't understand, not to interrupt you about this, good. But this interest rates, you're not married to that interest rate. And it's not going to be 6 or 7 or 8% forever. The American dream is to be a homeowner. So go buy a house. Do what you need to do. Buy what you can afford. And then when the rates come back down, because they will, then you refinance and then it's a different situation. Then you can move up, then you can move out, you can do all kinds of things. But
give up the quad shot at Starbucks. That's $10,
right? How much money do people spend on coffees every week? And they say, oh, my house payment, I can't go above $2,500. Well, you know what? You could go to 27 if you don't go to Starbucks every day, or if you don't eat out twice a week. It's
choices. Right?
It's absolute choices, and what we always choose. The majority of people choose what's easy, and life is simple, not easy.
That's exactly the business, right? And that's the opportunity. So people say, well, there's too many realtors in the business, at least at Keller Williams. And I bet you love this as a PC coach and team leader prior to that, where you go, well, do we have 100% of the market share? Like, no. Pretty sure there's more deals out there. The funny thing, we're not selling cupcakes. We're not selling things that are luxury. We're selling shelter, and we're selling investments, and so people need them, right? And if it's a necessity. I always got this from being an apple farmer, because my dad was always upset that wheat farmers got subsidized by the government and apple farmers didn't. And the reason is apples are a luxury item, and wheat was looked at as a necessity food item for nutrition, like bread. We have to have bread. That was the concept, and we don't have to have fruit. Right? Like, this is kind of old school thinking, but he was always mad. And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess. And so when we're selling houses, it's not like we're selling something that people don't need. They need to live somewhere. If they, obviously we have homeless crisis, but the vast majority of humans want to live in shelter, whether it's rent, which is, by the way, 100% interest rate.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing to look at. That's a funny way to look at it. But when you're renting, you're paying somebody else's mortgage usually. And you're paying 100% interest because you get no credit for it. You only get to use that for that month. So even if you pay 10%, and how do you afford it? Well, you have to recalibrate your priorities, or you just don't, right? And what's interesting right now in a shift, I think there's more opportunity for new people to get into real estate right now than ever before. And I believe this because there's a lot of people in real estate that think that have developed habits, to your point earlier, that they don't have the right habits. And I've found it in my career, often easier to train someone that's hungry right out of the gates with good habits than it is to change someone that thinks they know what they don't really know.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to be hungry. And if you're not, I just moved across the state. I have no deals over here. I was literally driving past. I'm driving up Squilchuck towards my house on Pitcher Canyon Road, and I'm looking at these two developments, and I'm thinking, I'm going to have to go door knock these neighborhoods. Am I looking forward to that? Not so much. But you know what? I have to meet some people, and I'm going to start doing what I know that I want to do.
Well, you're going to be successful at anything you do because you are driven, and you're a fighter, and I admire that about you. I appreciate coming in. I know we're going to work together in a lot of different ways in the future. Keep coaxing you. Thanks for coming in spontaneously. Thanks, Kennedy, for showing up. You're the youngest guest in history on this radio show. You just beat the other kid who was 7. He's now disappointed. We'll be right back with PrimeLending and Sharon Crockett.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true.
With the new Keller Williams School of Real Estate, you can now get your license for free. Access tools, tips, and personalized coaching with Keller Williams award-winning training programs, and start off your career in real estate the right way. K-Score is 100% online and entirely free to students, with pre-licensing curriculum geared toward placing aspiring agents on a direct path to licensure and profitability. With K-Score, we're not just unlocking the door, we're opening every door to anyone that's ever dreamed of starting their career in real estate. We're making a difference for you so that you can make a difference for others. Now available for all individuals in Washington. Your future awaits. Enroll today.
We're excited. We got a lot of people signing up, so give us a call, 509-888-0038, or simply email us at joinus@kwnCW.com. Let's go from being stuck to unstuck. Hi, this is Russ McClellan, operating partner with Keller Williams Realty and the host of this show, Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. I want to take just a minute to say a heartfelt thank you for your support and tuning into our show each and every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. I personally have made some amazing friendships as a direct result of this radio show, and I couldn't be more grateful. As always, throw the phone in the drawer, be present, spend some time with your friends and loved ones, and make it a fantastic Saturday. Thanks again for your amazing support of Home Sweet Home with Russ, McClellan, and friends.
You're enjoying the Real Estate Show, Home Sweet Home with Russ, McClellan, and friends. Here's more with Russ.
And it's now time, one more time, with PrimeLending and Sharon Crockett. Hi, Sharon.
Hi there. How's it going, Russ?
Good. I know you're traveling, so thank you. I appreciate it. Man, oh man, things are wild in the west of finance, huh?
Yes, things are definitely shifting in our market. No doubt about that.
So I just want to let you kind of give you the reins and just like share with us and our listeners what your take is. What are you excited about? What are you concerned about? Like what's going on right now?
Yeah, it's definitely, we're seeing a lot of shift with higher interest rates. Inventory is doing a little bit of shifting depending on the neighborhoods that people are looking to buy in. People are feeling a little crunch as far as not being able to afford the home that they thought they might be able to afford just a few months ago. So we're having to get really creative in helping people, have options for affording the home that they want. So it's now more than ever, we have to really have a lot of strategy talks with not only the buyers, but the agents, the listing agents. When people are making offers, we're asking for different kinds of concessions now to buy down interest rates. It's really, it's an exciting time for us because we're always looking for opportunity to continuously be more creative.
Yeah, being a professional at your trade is, I think, just like you said, with realtors and strategies and structure and expectation and counseling and all the things realtors do, it's probably not been this important to be a team of qualified experts. It's more important now than ever. I mean, and to your point, I don't think the vast majority of the consumers know what we're even talking about, like with buying down, and just the simple stuff like buying down a rate. I don't know. If you're not in it every day, you don't know what that means.
Yeah, they don't know what that means. And so we have to be even more creative and have those conversations with people so that they know that, there are other options, and it's every single client. They don't know what a rate buy down is, or a temporary 3-2-1 buy down, or a permanent rate buy down. And, they're just, those terms are still very unfamiliar for most people, even the real estate agents. They, some of the deals we're putting together, we're getting $10,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 in seller concessions instead of price reductions to help people buy down their interest rates to, at least 1 or 2%, which is a game changer.
Yeah, maybe just explain how that affects your debt to income ratio and your payment, how that's all related for those that are unfamiliar.
Yeah, so we're seeing rates obviously somewhere, in the 5s and 6s, some close to 7 right now, depending on the product. And in some cases, we're able to buy down that rate into the 4s, which is, $300, $400, $500 a month cheaper, depending on the price point. And that's an affordability factor. It's helping clients see, okay, maybe I don't need to wait like I thought I was going to do, or exit the market completely. And for sellers, if they have price reductions going on, instead of a price reduction, we can say, no, why don't you pay full price and ask for that quote price reduction in seller concessions. For example, if someone's looking at a house that's on the market for $500,000, maybe it's been sitting for 20, 25 days, and they might be thinking, I'm going to come in and offer $480 and get the house cheaper. I'm going to save some money here. In reality, if they take that 20 grand and offer 500 and take that 20 grand and get it back from the seller to buy down the rate, it's hundreds of dollars cheaper per month and thousands of dollars of interest cheaper than it is for them to pay $480 for the house. $480 might save them $100 a month. Taking that $20,000 and buying down the rate might save them $200, $300, $400 a month.
Yeah, if you take 400 times 12, that's $4,800 a year. If you did a $20,000 concession in that formula to get that $400 a month savings, you make up for it in 4 years on a 30-year plan, right? So in your 5th year on, you're making money. And more importantly, you're qualifying for a higher amount because your payment is less. And that's also part of this consideration where you're on that bubble of maybe not being able to afford something. You need to get that payment down somehow. And that's a very good way to do it in today's shifting real estate climate and interest climate.
Yeah, and we're taking this message into all the local real estate offices as well as communities and companies. We're doing lunch and learns at local companies in our area to get this out to their employees
That's very
and
smart.
talk about it, at the beginning of their process of thinking this through before they, get pre-approved, or maybe they're kicking the tires to sell their home or, buy
Yeah.
another home. So we're trying to get the message out, and it's really being well received.
Well, education is crucial when things are shifting and changing. And it's hard because if you trust someone, if you're a buyer and you've trusted a real estate broker or you trusted your banker or lender and they told you that this is the only option is this X and that's it, it's very difficult for most people to take a step back and go, well, maybe my friend didn't know everything, because it's hard for them. But you really need to. I mean, this is a giant investment. It's a giant purchase. So rather than just have pure blind faith in someone that told you couldn't do something, there's really a couple things to think about. It's free to talk to you guys at PrimeLending, and there's no commitment to you to talk and have a counseling session. And in reality, it's not necessarily your friend's fault. So it's not like that friend was a bad person that gave you advice, because maybe that's all that person knew. And the one thing about life is you better be learning based, because
It's true.
the only constant
Yeah.
in life is change, right? So I just see that in people where they go, oh my, I bank here and they said I couldn't do it. I'm kind of screwed. I'm gonna have to pay 100% interest on this rental for the rest of my life. And that's not always the case, right?
Yeah. It's just like anything else. I mean, when we go to the doctor and we Google things online, we read things, we think we know the way things are going. And, until you actually talk to an expert, then we don't always know what all the options are. And so it's just nice to get, all the facts before you make a final decision. And a lot of companies too, we're going to see a lot of mortgage companies closing, and it's already happening, and there's going to be a lot more of that. So it's also important to make sure that your lender is going to be there to close your loan for you, because a lot of non-bank lenders are going to be going out of business. The liquidity is out. It's hard for companies to have any margins to do anything. So we're really happy that we're backed by a bank, but we have the creativity of being able to do all the products and everything. So we're pretty blessed to have PrimeLending backing us.
Yeah, well, it happened next door to us. They pulled the plug on those guys in one day with 1 day's notice, and it was a big company, and it wasn't everywhere, but it's a publicly traded company. And so when you're owned by stockholders and managed by guys in New York City, you don't know. You just don't know, right? This is, especially, you think about mortgage companies. One of the things you guys have always done is even when you didn't have to, even when the money was probably, I'm going to guess, much easier on the refinance world, when rates are 3%, under 3% for several years in a row, some mortgage companies exclusively went into that easy, low-hanging fruit of refinancing. And they forgot to work with realtors, and they forgot to work with the public about purchases. And I think those mortgage companies are also in trouble, because they're trying to make the shift into the game of purchases, and they've just not been in that game. And and that's when the fire is hot, it's hard to transition into the fire. You kind of got to get prepared for it. And so you guys have done a good job, I think, a great job of communicating with people in real estate, with integrity, with consistency, and and caring about people. And some of those very basic fundamentals are not always the case in business.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely, we've always tried to stay focused on our purchase partners, because refinances come and go. They kind of take care of themselves, and 2020 was pretty crazy back in the day.
Yeah, already.
So,
I have a question for you. I got a couple minutes left in our segment, but one of the OPs on the west side of the mountains, he posed on Facebook on his page. I'm curious what everyone thinks the interest rates are going to go to in the next 12 months, and it was so fascinating because he's been in the game a long time, and man, we saw everything from 6% for a year and then back to 4 to 12. So it's hard to predict these things, but I'm pretty sure rates are climbing, and I think there should be a sense of urgency right now. If you're in the mood to buy, you should maybe look at buying now.
Yes, it is definitely a good time to buy, even with rising rates, because of our strategies of getting the buy downs on almost every deal. We're able to structure some sort of a buy down, and the prices are, adjusting a little bit. They're still on the rise depending on, what neighborhood you're in, but we definitely see rates going up. We just got back from Dallas from our national annual sales rally for PrimeLending. We had a lot of financial experts on the market talk about the market and their prediction, and with inflation and the condition of everything right now is that, and the Fed is going to do another couple rate hikes, which don't directly affect interest rates, but they do eventually mentally can affect the interest rate market as far as the 30-year fixed. So yeah, we see rates rising, staying high high is relative. If you look at a 50-year history of our rates, back in 2010, 2008, 2009, 2010, even in 2012, we were looking at 5%, 5 to 5.5. So it wasn't that long ago where we were right where we're at now. So I think people just got so accustomed to the 3s and the 2s that, 5, 5.5, 6 sounds horrible, when in reality, it's not as horrible as people think, and there are solutions to that. So definitely give us a call, 425-327-1451. We'd love to sit down and run numbers with anybody that's interested in seeing what that would look like for pre-approval and see if we can help out.
Sounds great, Sharon. I appreciate you calling in. Know you're traveling, having a good time. Thank you. Everybody get outside. Beautiful out there. Enjoy life. Be kind to someone. Make generosity, forgiveness, and grace part of your business plan. And thanks for tuning in one more time to Home Sweet Home with Russ, McClellan, and Friends.
It's a brand new day, just came my way. I bought a new home.